there. If you feel bad about your department, maybe you don't answer the door. Maybe you don't respond to the subpoena. Maybe you don't engage the way you should. Maybe you don't want to be part of the block club because, so trust is essential for public safety, but also for human rights. If I may say one more thing, Brian, forgive me for going on.
No, you're good, man.
But it is important to bear in mind that the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution says, there shall be no unreasonable search and seizure. So what that's saying is that the government cannot use arbitrary force against you. Now, if you live in a country where the local law enforcement uses arbitrary force against you because you are in a national minority group, because you are a political dissident, then you no longer are in a democratic society. You're under a police state. In fact, being free from arbitrary force from the government is as important as voting. It's fundamental and basic to democratic participation. That's why I wrote the book.
Amen. Put your hands together. I read the book, and then I got the book on audio.
Could you put up with listening to my voice for that long?
I loved it, man. I loved it.
I read that book, just so y'all know.
I loved it. I loved it. And if you get the book, that's fine. Buy the book. But they're starting on page 34 in Keith's own voice, and he promised to do it or replicate that right here and right now. He gives a second-by-second account. Portia? You read that? You got okay? It's off the chain. It is absolutely incredible. And I saw the video just like you, but Keith put me on the street, and I'm part of that little crowd there. So I'm going to give you your book, and you promise to read starting at the beginning and read us, just a little bit so they can get a taste of what the audio does.
The video itself can't capture what these people must have felt. Nonetheless, here's the transcript of the Darnella Frazier video. 00 to 19 seconds. Officer Chauvin's knee is on the neck of George Floyd. Officer Tao circles the police vehicle and stands in front of Mr. Floyd. From 0 seconds to 19 seconds. Mr. Floyd, I can't breathe, 19 seconds to 40 seconds. Mr. Floyd, please, I can't breathe. Please, man, please, somebody help me. 40 seconds to 42 seconds. Mr. Floyd, I can't breathe. 43 seconds to 46 seconds. Mr. Charles McMillan, bro, you got him down. Let him at least breathe, man. 45 seconds to 47 seconds. Mr. Floyd, I can't breathe. 47 seconds to 48 seconds. Charles McMillan, I've been trying to help him out, man. 48 seconds to 50. Officer Tao. So he's breathing. 50 seconds to 56 seconds. Inaudible. 57 seconds to 58 seconds. Chauvin, relax. 55 seconds to 58 seconds. Floyd, I can't breathe. My face. 59 seconds to 1 minute. Charles McMillan, just get up, man. 1 minute 02 to 1 minute 03. What do you want? 103 to 108. Floyd, I can't breathe. Please, the knee on my neck. I can't breathe. Shit. 108 to 111. Charles McMillan, bro, get up in the car, man. 111 to 112. Mr. Floyd, I will. 112 to 113. Mr. Charles McMillan, get up and get in the car. 113 to 114. Floyd, I can't move. 117 to 118. Floyd, mama. 118 to 119. Charles McMillan, get up and get in the car, man. 119 to 121. Floyd, mama, I can't. 121 to 125. Charles McMillan, give him the opportunity to get in. Brother, I'm talking to you. You can't win. 125 to 126. Mr. Floyd, my knee. 126 to 128, Charles McMillan. You can't win, man. 127 to 129, Mr. Floyd. My neck, I'm through. 129 to 131, Charles McMillan. I know you're on his neck. You didn't listen. 132 to 158, Floyd. I'm claustrophobic. My stomach hurts. 158 to 2 minutes, Chauvin. 158 to 2 minutes, Floyd. My neck hurts. 158 to 2 minutes, Chauvin. 158 to 2 minutes, Floyd. Everything hurts. I need some water or something. Please, I can't breathe, officer. I can't breathe, officer. They gonna kill me, man. 158 to 2 minutes, Charles McMillan. Brother, get off his neck, man. 2 minutes to 2:02, Alyssa Funari. His nose is bleeding. Like, come on now. 2:02 to 2:04, Charles McMillan. That's wrong right there. Putting your feet on his neck. 2:04 to 2:05, Alyssa Funari. Look at his nose. 2:06 to 2:08, Charles McMillan. You can't put your feet right on his neck. 2:09 to 2:12, Floyd. I can't breathe. 2:13 to 2:15, Donald Williams. Oh, he's a tough guy. He's a rough guy, huh? 2:15 to 2:16, Tao. What's that? 2:16 to 2:18, Donald Williams. Oh, he's a tough guy. He's not even resisting arrest, bro. 2:19 to 2:20, Alyssa Funari. His whole nose is bleeding. 2:22 to 2:23, Donald Williams. He ain't doing nothing. 2:23 to 2:25, Floyd. They gonna kill me. I can't breathe. 2:25 to 2:26, Alyssa Funari. How long y'all gonna hold him down? 2:26 to 2:28, Tao. That's why you don't do drugs, kids. 2:29 to 2:30, Donald Williams. This ain't about drugs, bro. 2:30 to 2:31, Alyssa Funari. Y'all ain't gotta put him like that. 2:34 to 2:35, Donald Williams. He's human, bro. 2:35 to 2:36, and Alyssa Funari, his nose. 2:36 to 2:38, Donald Williams. At least put him in the car. 2:39 to 2:40, Tao. We tried that for 10 minutes. 2:40 to 2:47, Donald Williams. That's some bum ass shit. Bro. Y'all know that. Y'all sitting there with your knee on his neck, bro. 2:40 to 2:47, Floyd. 2:47 to 2:48, Tao. He's talking, he's fine. 2:48 to 2:55, Donald Williams. Bro, he ain't fine. Bro, that's like a jujitsu move. You got him trapped on his breathing right there, bro. 2:55 to 2:56, Tao. Okay, all right. 2:56 to 3:01, Donald Williams. You don't think that's what it is, bro? You don't think anybody understands that shit right there, bro? I trained in the academy, bro. That's some bullshit, bro. 3:02, you don't understand. Tao, you don't understand. 3:03 to 3:05, Donald Williams. Right, that's some bullshit, bro. That's some bullshit. 3:05, Floyd. Please. 3:06 to 3:08, Donald Williams. You fucking stopping his breathing right there, bro. 3:08 to 3:09, Floyd. I can't breathe. 3:09 to 3:11, Tao. Okay, he's talking. It's hard to talk when you can do that. 3:11 to 3:32, Donald Williams. Bro, what? Get him off the ground. You being a bum right now. Yeah. Let me finish this paragraph. You being a bum right now. Get him off the ground, bro. You can get him off the ground. You're being a bum right now. You're enjoying that. You are enjoying that. You're a bum. He's enjoying that right now. You put him in the car by now. He's not resisting or nothing. And then Alyssa Funari says, he's not talking now.
Yeah. That was powerful. that takes this document, not a book, a document. It makes it relevant across time, culture. I want to ask you a question, and we've been talking about this for the last 5 days. What the dynamics, the socioeconomic, political, racial dynamics? Talk to us about what was transpiring there. How did we get there?
Well, let me just say that I think it was the Chicago 1919. Has anybody ever heard of the Chicago race riot of 1919? There was a black kid who was in the white section of swimming in Lake Michigan in Chicago. And he floated over on a flotation device to the white section. He started in the black section, floated over to the white section. And some hooligans threw rocks at him, made him lose his balance, fall off the flotation device, and he drowned because he wasn't a swimmer. And some black adults went to the police and said, those guys just killed that kid. What are you going to do about it? And the police said, what are we going to do about it? We're going to arrest you. And this started a horrific chain of events that resulted in mass burning, looting, and killing against the black community in Chicago in 1919. Now, a few years later, or a few months later, the University of Chicago did an investigative committee and did an investigative report, came up with some recommendations. And they were all about housing conditions, policing, lack of respect. And then they took those recommendations and they did nothing. And then 1935 comes around, Harlem, another investigative committee, another set of recommendations, another nothing. 1943, same thing. In Detroit, they had an investigative committee, nothing. 1966, 67, the Kerner Commission looks at all of the civil unrest during the 60s, says it's all sparked by tragic interactions between police and community, together with underlying poor social conditions, sparked by bad police incidents. Detroit becomes the single most destructive urban civil unrest in the nation's history, right? And Brian and I remember our dad being out all night, all day, all night, dealing with patients, right? And we were too little to know what was going on, but we knew there was a riot. And I remember my mother being terrified. Anyway, you would think that would be it. That's not it. Rodney King. There's the Christopher Commission. Another report. Another recommendations. Another nothing. Oh, and then there is Ferguson. And Barack Obama says 21st century vote, which is 21st century policing, which is what? An investigative committee, recommendations, and we're trying. So the social fabric of this is maintaining a vertical, racialized hierarchy, and that is essentially, and the police are used to basically maintain boundary lines, maintain structures.
So you're saying that there is a racial caste system in the United States?
I think it's, I don't think any fair-minded person can really deny that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, think about this. When Brown versus Board of Education came, the state of Virginia shut down the entire school system because they did not want to share the school system with black people. They closed pools, municipal pools all over America, shut down because people thought it would be somehow polluting for black people to get in the pool, right? And this happened after 7 decades of violence. You know, what is essentially, well, y'all heard of Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Who heard of Tulsa? Did you hear of the Lane, Arkansas? Mm-hmm. Did you hear of Rosewood? You saw the movie, right? Mm-hmm. But that's just the beginning. I mean, the Wilmington attack, where they attacked a black-white fusion government in Wilmington, North Carolina that was very successful. And not only did they attack the black community and kill massive numbers of people, they took over the government by force in Wilmington. And Colfax, Louisiana. We could keep going, but there's all that history. Do we live in a caste system? I'm not saying we do. I'm saying the facts suggest that we do.
So what is your response when people, Supreme Court, talk about color blindness?
Well, I mean, it's just like we're going to burden you with everything we can burden you with, and then we're going to say, well, we won't do that anymore, at least not straight up and in your face, and so everything's cool now, right? We burdened you for 25 miles of a 26-mile race, and now we're going to say the burdens are off. At least at least that's the stated policy.
And MAGA movement is a what? Response to what?
The MAGA movement is backlash, and it's really, the MAGA movement must be understood as a consistent historic reality of trying to reestablish the vertical hierarchy. That's what it is. If people say no, it isn't, explain to me why they were waving a Confederate flag in the Capitol, where I used to work.
Does it seem like the white evangelical Christian 81% support that guy, number 45? What do you say about that? And they got the Bible to support their.
Well, here's the thing, Brian. You're the biblical scholar, not me. I will simply say that it has been said more than once that the most segregated time in the week is Sunday morning.
That's right.
And so if the idea was that we are all the offspring of Adam and Eve and thereby brothers and sisters of each other, entitled with respect, love, and appreciation equally amongst us, then you would think that the religious authorities, all of them, would say so and insist on that.
And they don't.
And I don't know, what do y'all think?
I'm gonna throw some names at you.
Yeah.
And you respond rapid fire.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna ask you the question. After the last 5 days we've been talking back and forth, I haven't asked you two questions.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna ask you two questions.
I love surprises.
Trustee James Heath said we gotta wrap it up. Okay?
Are we gonna take any questions?
Yeah, we're gonna take questions after that. We're gonna take questions after that. But here it is. I'm gonna throw these names out and you respond however you want.
Right.
Darnella Frazier.
Hero.
Who is she?
She is the young lady who heroically took 8-minute and 46-second video, who she was afraid she was going to get arrested, but her moral compass, made her stay there and do everything that she could, and I will tell y'all, she showed up a year later and testified to what she saw, and we don't ever think that our teenagers are not maintaining the tradition of liberation, ethics, integrity. They are, and we got to lift them up and embrace them.
Donald Williams.
31-year-old guy. He was the young man who was an MMA fighter who happened to be fishing that day, took his son fishing, just went to the corner store to get snacks. Didn't know George Floyd from a can of paint. Didn't know the man at all. Neither did Darnella Frazier. But he saw something that compelled him to speak out and speak up. He's another heroic, courageous person. Did not know George Floyd, as I said. But again, you're the one, Brian, who said this is the clearest real-life example of the Good Samaritan that I've ever seen, because here's a man injured on the road. Strangers intervene to help him. The people who's supposed to help him are actually hurting him. And these people Brian, we're sitting in Big Boys. Y'all know, and Brian's eating French fries and saying, they didn't know him? No. You mean they didn't know him at all? No. Well, that was Donald Williams. By the way, Donald Williams used to be a wrestler with my kids.
Jeremiah.
When they were little guys, 8, 9 years old, wrestling it up at the local recreational joint. So when I saw him, he looked familiar, but you know, people change between 7 and 31.
Jerry Blackwell.
Jerry Blackwell, another heroic figure. Jerry Blackwell was the lead. He did the opening statement and the closing argument. Jerry Blackwell and I, he's never tried a criminal case, but he was a master at civil litigation. Now, Jerry, whenever I sue big companies for like not doing the right thing, and I do that on a regular basis, Jerry often is on the other side. So Jerry's made a lot of money off of Exxon Mobil and CenturyLink and all that. I said, Jerry, you've done pretty good. Why don't you come do something? Why don't you come consult with us and do the right thing? I'll make you an assistant attorney general. He said, I'll do it. And I said, okay, now how much are you going to charge me? Jerry goes, nothing. And Jerry devoted his law firm and his own personal talent. So if you ever get ready to say, oh, these black professionals who are making all this money don't care about us, that's not true either. You got to give them a chance to get in where they can fit in and make a meaningful difference.
Steve Schlischer.
Steve Schlischer, it's important to point out, white guy. Has anybody ever heard of the Wettinger matter? There was a little boy who was snatched off the street, and for like 3 or 4 decades, nobody knew what happened to the child. Steve was the one who was the prosecutor on that case, prosecuted that person, held him accountable, brought truth and justice back to, not justice, but certainly truth to the family, the Wettinger family. He had prosecuted police in the past. He's a former assistant attorney general. I invited him to help us out. He agreed to do so. We didn't have anybody who had prosecuted police on our team, so we needed somebody who had done it before, and Steve did it, and he did a wonderful job. Him and Jerry really were a dynamic duo.
Amen. Tell us what makes Derek Chauvin tick.
Derek Chauvin, I wish I could tell you that there was some sort of big plan for Derek Chauvin. If I was going to, I watched him carefully throughout the trial. I sat a few feet from him. What struck me is he only weighed about 140 pounds. He's only about 5'9". He didn't say or do anything that was overtly racist. He didn't. People said, why didn't you charge a hate crime? We didn't have we didn't have a witness to put on. We'd have to have somebody surmise that because he didn't say it. He's just one of those people who kind of operates without thinking. He had 18 prior excessive force complaints. He was never called on the carpet or any explanation demanded as to why that was happening. I think Derek Chauvin is one of those officers who, if he was under some meaningful accountability, might not be doing 22 and a half years right now. Now, I'm not trying to go light on Derek Chauvin. I just didn't see any mindful hate coming out of the man. I didn't see any mindful much of anything. He's just sort of walking through life like a zombie, doing what the culture allowed him to do.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna give it to everybody to ask questions, and then we're gonna get these books signed. But I do have 2 questions for you.
I'll be quick, if I can.
Well, just you've been doing good. You've been doing good. Here are my questions. 2 questions. I've been wanting to ask you these questions. What did you learn about Keith Maurice Ellison through this entire ordeal? What you learn about yourself?
Well, Brian, you know that this tragedy with George Floyd happened May 25th, 2020. And we lost our beloved mother. She went on to her reward only a few weeks before that. So I could not say, Mom, can you believe what happened? What should I do? And let me just tell you all, Executive Evans was not wrong when he said, it was a no-win situation. I had people who cared about me, good friends of mine, have aspirations for my career, who said to me, look, you should not take this case, Keith. You should tell the governor you won't do it. Because if you take this case and you win, the police federation is going to be mad at you, without regard to how guilty Derek Chauvin is. And if you take this case and you lose, community's going to be mad at you and they're going to blame you. And I knew in that moment, what I learned about myself is that I had the most amazing human being to raise me, because I had because I was like, well, you know, this is not about me. This is not about my career aspirations or goals, and it's not even about public appreciation or acclaim. It is about doing the best you can with what you got in the moment that you're in. Right? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, the next day, or the day after that, but you know what you can do now, and you must do it.
I want to point out something. Some of y'all may not know this. So, like I said, we're 11 months apart. We went to the same parties. We played football again. I went to Shrine. He went to U of D.
They won the game.
We won the game, right? And we did everything together, right? So we were what do you call those kind of twins that aren't exactly twins?
They call
Irish twins.
Known as
Okay.
Irish twins.
Right. So anyway, I've been observing him, and he did something that you need to know. Shocks me to this day. So he's arguing about what people are not doing. So his wife, Kim, at the time, Brookins, Ellison, said, quit talking, do something. He runs for state legislature. He wins. Then the seat opens, Sabado,
the congressional seat.
Yeah, the congressional 5th district, mighty 5th district of Minnesota opens up, and it's in the first book. It's really the hand of God how he got that position, right? And people, it's like a parting of the waters. And he wins, a Muslim. Okay, he said he and Farrakhan were neighbors or something. I don't know, but they tried to bring him down hard. Am I right, Eric? So he's this revolutionary trailblazer, first Muslim congressman in the United States of America. If you want to read about it, it's right here. Yeah, go ahead. Then he's the head of the Progressive Caucus, and he gets a lot of airtime. And so I'm thinking, you know, there are two things that are life appointments in the black community. One is a black pastor. You got to die. And the other one, Keith had, he was a congressman. And I'm looking at Susan Conyers right here. Put your hands together for Susan Conyers. And he calls me one day. This is right after Trump got in. And he says, Brian, I'm running for Attorney General. I said, no, you're not. You're the congressman for the 5th District of Minnesota. That's yours forever. This is what he said to me. And I loved him. I respected him. He was already my guy. But it went to another level. He said, all we do up here is vote like Nancy wants us to vote and give speeches. This is what he said. The action is in the state, local level. I want to be where the action is in the age of Trump. And this dude, there's a picture of him filing the papers at wherever you have to file the papers to run for office, and had his glasses on top of his head. And then he goes, by doing that, he's saying that I'm going to be something that Minnesota has never had in the history of Minnesota. The first non-white elected official in Minnesota.
Statewide. Yeah.
Statewide elected official. So as far as having, courage, he has it in spades. Amen. But I do have one more question, and then we're going to turn it over to you. I know that you are a student of the human condition, the human predicament, the existential plight of man, and all that kind of talk. through this, not this endeavor here, but through this, what have you learned about human nature?
Thank you. And before I answer, I just want to say that I see that renowned actor and talk show host Hill Harper's here.
Yeah,
how you doing, Hill? Say hi there. Stand up, brother. And his son. Is
Rashida Tlaib here? I heard she's not coming. I heard she wasn't coming.
Oh, Rashida. Hey, Rashida. Rashida's way in the back. What's up, sister?
Hey, stand up again. Stand up. Rashida has been a friend to the Ellison family for decades, and she has been to this church more times than I can count. Yes.
Well, I knew I didn't have to be there because you could be. You know, sometimes you got to hand the baton over, right? You don't need to be there. You don't need to be in a political job forever.
But you know what? All these people here, Hill Harper, Rashida, Judge Gant, Warren Evans. We got to go to the polls for these people. And we got to that's right. And we got to keep them in office. Because guess what? Who gives up a Sunday and they're not on the marquee? You see what I'm saying? They're about the people. It's about the grassroots.
About the people.
Yeah, and they are about the people by their presence here today.
Well, Brian, let me just tell you,
go ahead.
you know, you mentioned me being a Muslim and you're a Baptist minister, Christians, a Christian church. There's a very important story that we share, and that is the story of Abraham. And Abraham is commanded by God to sacrifice his son. Now, you got to understand, he's an old man, and he didn't have any son, and he didn't know if he was ever going to have one. So here he is in old age, never having a son, gets the heart's desire of his life, my son. And God says, sacrifice your son. And so now it's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can give up that which I love. I don't know if I can do that. But faith helped him make that sacrifice, and God spared his son. But the real thing was, are you so enamored with the things of this world that you won't give up the things of this world in order to see something else that could be right in front of you? And so, let me be clear. I love serving in Congress. It is a tremendous honor to be in Congress. But I just felt I could do more service to community as Attorney General. I felt like I could, and I felt like whoever's coming behind me is going to do a good job. And so we jumped off the steady boat onto the rickety one. And it didn't sink by the grace of God and with your help. Twice. And so, but my point is, you know, and even in the last election, you know, I won by 100,000 votes the first time. I only won by 20,000 votes the last one. One of the things you're going to read in this book is that, I mean, look, I didn't have any scandals. I wasn't in any trouble. In fact, I helped lead a successful prosecution that had international implications. How did my opponent make up 80,000 votes on me? Because what you think because what some people like, some people really don't like at all. And so, you know, that's the price of justice. But I'm not in office to be in office. I'm in office to do something with that office. So I actually feel sorry for people who are only in office because, like, here's the thing what I tell folks. Because it's often said, Brother Keith, you're the first this, the first that. I'm like, you never hear me making that much of it, and you might wonder why. Let me tell you why. Because if all I said is I'm going to be the first black AG, the second I swear my oath, I've done it. Don't be the first black AG, be the best AG ever. Be the best congressperson. Be the best one. Be the one who's going to speak out on the issues. You know, when some people are going to say, you know, Rashida knows this, and Hill, you about to learn this, and I'm sure you know it already. You know, people are going to say, you can't do that because even though that thing that they're doing is poisoning community, killing off the water, all these problems, they give lots of money to everybody. So you cannot oppose them. Well, if you've got faith, you will oppose them. And that is the kind of leadership that we are calling for right here, right now. That's what the country needs. That's what Detroit needs. That's what Minnesota needs. We all need principled leadership who is willing to risk it all for a holier cause. That's what we got to have. Because if they're just clinging to their pensions and their jobs and their reputations and their appearances on MSNBC, all that stuff is filthy rags, in my opinion. It's got to be about elevating the human condition, telling the truth, holding people accountable who are in high places, making everyone obey the law. So I wasn't trying to get revenge on Derek Chauvin. All I was trying to do with Derek Chauvin is say there's nobody beneath the law. George Floyd is not beneath the law. And Derek Chauvin is not above the law. We can't have a society where some people get to do whatever they want and they're never accountable. And other people, you can do whatever you want to them and it's fine. You're never going to have to answer for it. That's the world that we're praying for. That's the world that we're working for.
So, come on.
All right, so listen, that was just wonderful. Wonderful. Give him a round of applause. So we got two things left. We want to save some time for those who have questions. We're going to do about 15 minutes of that. And so if you've got a question, I mean a really, really good question, we're gonna have you come, if you can, to the center of the aisle. We'll get the microphone to you. But while you do that, I'm gonna read off a list of names. These folks, if you're in the sanctuary, before we leave today, I need you to go over into the corner. Raise your hand, Keita. I need you to raise your hand and go see her if I read off your name. Janelle Allen, I saw you just walk in, so you're there. Reginald Billingsley, Joyce Bowman, Richard Carson, Susan Conyers is here, I know. Tayi Green, Sue Hamoud, Gina Hawkins, Thomas Hull, Ebony Hull, Brenda Johnson, Richard Mack, Angela Patrick Copeland, Carla Patrick Copeland, or Patrick Fagan, Angela Peterson, Melba Wade, and Nia Wells, and James Wren. If I called your name before you leave, make sure you go see her. And we're going to do a couple questions. And Cal, it's on you.
Hi, my name is Donald Stuckey. You may remember me because I was
good to see you, Donald.
Yeah, I was at an event with you a couple of years ago.
Great to see you, man.
So my question is just about kind of interest in this case was a lot of news media was going on about it, just really big stuff. And we were in the middle of an election and a pandemic at the time. I'm curious as to since then, during the time and since then, what kind of reaction from both sides of the aisle did you get from the Minnesota legislature? Just kind of because you have to interact with them a lot
sure.
to for your budget and things like that. Just curious as to what kind of pushback or reaction that you got from that case.
Well, let me answer you very directly. So it so happened in the last election that people who care about kids and education and clean water and civil and human rights, and they won the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion and my office. Many of them are there in the back who I just introduced, those state legislators, we got a trifecta. And I think y'all got one here in Michigan too. Man, they took good care of me, Donald. We are increasing our wage theft unit. We're increasing our antitrust unit. We're increasing our group to fight against human trafficking. We're increasing our group that is going to sue gun manufacturers and negligent gun sellers. We're increasing our group that is going to be doing outreach and engagement in community on all languages. So things went really well, but I'm gonna tell you, in the election, on the my Republican friends, and I always leave the door open for them. I don't encourage y'all to hate anyone. They were saying that. Look, in the election, they were running ads like this. This is an ad. Ring, ring. Hello. Hey, this call is from a Minnesota correctional facility. Hello. I'm an inmate, and I just want all of y'all to vote for Ellison because he hates the cops just as much as I do. And he's for the crooks, and he's against public safety. And they're running Willie Horton ads on me. Mahmoud, am I lying about this? No, they're running scurrilous, racist ads against me. It was so bad that I didn't have nothing to do with it, but a group of 60 pastors got together and denounced the racism of these ads. There was a multiracial group, which goes to show y'all that this is not. We think of these things in racial terms, but it's really bigger than that. So this right and wrong. So Donald, that's the answer. Some people really took off after me because of this case, and then others showed up. I actually got more votes in this last election than I got the first time. But listen, I won by 100,000 votes the first time, and I won by 20,000 votes the second time, and I got more votes than I got last time, which means a whole lot of people showed up to try to teach me a lesson, and I was fighting to make sure we won this election because I did not want the lesson to be that if you stand up for what's right, then you're going to be turned out of office. I want these prosecutors around the country to know that if you prosecute people who are committing crimes, that you will not lose, you're going to win. You know, and we're not, that's what we had to do. My opponent never stepped foot in the courtroom at all.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your time today. My name is Chad.
Hey, Jay.
Two questions for one, if I can.
That's why I brought a notebook.
My man. So earlier you were talking about there was nothing remarkable about kind of like doing what the culture allowed.
Yes, I said that.
Right. If you recall, and I'm sure other people recall, Freddie Gray was killed in 2015 at the hands of 6 officers. 3 of them were black, and they had a black mayor.
Yep.
If black officers and black politicians don't change the culture, then if it doesn't change the culture of policing from its historic roots, then what will?
Okay, good. I got that one. What's your next question?
Sure. Second question is this. As the AG, what would have meant for you, or what would your response have been if the crowd that was watching George Floyd being murdered had they intervened violently to save his life?
Right. Well, okay, so thank you. I'll answer those. Real quickly, the first question is black politicians and police officers intervening. Let me tell you, it's true that, you know, oftentimes black elected officials do not step up to the plate the way we would like them to, but it's also true that many times they do. It's true that our African-American police chief fired those officers like within 24 hours and testified against them at trial. So that happened. And I can tell you, like, a lot of times, you know, a lot of our young people, they're fired up for justice, and sometimes we get a little binary. Everybody's all bad or everybody's all good. The system's all bad or the system's all good. The truth is, it's a little more complicated than that. And I think that changing the culture, as we want to see the culture change, is an elected official problem, but it's also a community problem. We've all got to demand it. Let me tell you, I would have never got the case if people would have not gotten into the street and demanded it, right? So it's not, one thing I worry about when I say, well, what are the black politicians going to do? What are the elections going to do? I'm like, well, we live in a democracy, which means you can't be elected unless somebody made you one of them. So let's not end the relationship after the election day. Let's stay in touch. Let's work together. Let's team this thing out. And on the issue of what would I have done if the crowd would have reacted violently, I don't know. It depends. You know, it depends on, was there a shove? Was there a louder shout? Was there a weapon involved? You know, so I mean, I'm a little bit reluctant to go there without more facts. So thank you.
Good afternoon, and I want to say praise the Lord to the saints too as well, Pastor Ellison. And
Thank you for saying that.
General, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today. I have a really brief question for you.
Wait a minute, is that Betty Ann?
Yes.
That's that's our little sister right there. Say hi to Betty Ann. Oh, Judge Elizabeth Stafford. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. The accomplices to Derek Chauvin,
Right.
Officer
Tao, Lane, King.
Lane and King, yeah. Received 3.5 years for violating George Floyd's civil rights. My question to you is just the thought on their sentencing,
Right.
what they received, and just your thoughts on it.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I'm never one who believes that I didn't appeal their sentencing because they pled guilty. I think there is real value in a police officer standing up in an American courtroom and saying, I was wrong, what I did was wrong, and I violated the law, and I think that's important. And if you are a prosecutor, you know, if you can't try every single case, right? When people want to take responsibility, that's going to be reflected in their sentence. Now, they're going to prison. They're going to prison for years, but I put it like this: if they'd have said no, we didn't do it, and they wouldn't take responsibility, they'd have been dealing with the same thing that Derek Chauvin was dealing with. But I think it is important for people to take responsibility for the wrong that they do. So and here's the other thing: how can I be against mass incarceration, but then I want it only for cops? You know, look, I'm not really for mass incarceration, generally speaking. What I would like to see is a heartfelt, meaningful change of heart, and I hope they go in there and think about what they did, and I hope they come out better people.
Good
Forgive me for
afternoon to both of you.
for my familiarity, Your Honor.
That's a nickname of affection, so I appreciate it.
That's right.
We're not going to go there. I don't know whether you commented on this before I came, so if you have already, I apologize. The DOJ investigation was completed within the last couple of weeks.
That's right.
And I want to know whether you had any comment on that.
I do.
Whether you believe that the DOJ investigation will have any meaningful impact, and whether you think that the findings would be the same in any U.S. city.
Well, let me just tell you. I think the answer is probably they would be. You know what I mean? You know, you've been a lawyer for a long time, so you know all this stuff is evidence based and everything's individual. But you know, the DOJ found that Minneapolis Police Department has been engaging in a pattern and practice of racial bias against Black and Native American people. One difference between Detroit and Minneapolis is a lot of Native American people in Minneapolis from, you know, various Indian reservations there. And they got some horrendous, there have been cases where they would put Native people in the back of the squad car, handcuff them, but not belt them in. And then they would speed and then slam on the brake, speed, slam on the brake, speed, slam on the brake. And it's awful. And so, so under Barack Obama, there were 24 cities that were under federal consent decree for pattern and practice abuses. In the 1994 crime bill, one of the things that's in there is the authority of the DOJ to do pattern and practice investigation, right? Now we need Rashida and Hill, when they get back to Congress, to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We need that, you know, but Congress does have the authority to do these pattern and practice ones, and they had 24 going. When Trump wins, Attorney General Sessions gets in there and cancels them all. And he doesn't even cancel them. He says they exist. DOJ just will not enforce them. And then we see a rise of real problems. Then we see Donald Trump actively encouraging police brutality. Do y'all remember he was talking to the Suffolk County Police Department, and he said, you know when you put their hands on their head and push them in there so they don't bump their head? Don't bother doing that. Just smash their head into the door. Y'all remember he said that? So this is the culture he's creating. And then we got a lot of problems. Then we get, you know, Biden wins, and then Garland is starting to implement DOJ pattern and practice cases again. I can tell you that statistically, they do suppress the police brutality issue. Do they solve it? No, they don't. I'm certain that Newark never would have got to their good record without that DOJ enforcement. So we're better off. So what will it do? I don't know, but we dare not do it. We got to do it, and we we need to support it, and we need to encourage it. And if you ever end up with a situation like that here in Detroit, it's not a bad thing. Remember, if people don't trust the police, they don't turn to the police, and then crime begins to flourish. So it's important that we have a relationship, and this might help us get there. So thank you, Betty Ann.
Good evening, my brothers.
Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you all.
You hanging in there?
Definitely. My name is Ken Scott. I have a unique question for you all. Watching you all grow up and watching your careers over the years, is two of you in front of me, but I know there were 5 brothers. Or are 5 brothers.
They're around.
All right?
And Cheryl, don't forget our cousin.
Oh, Cheryl. Keep in mind that the urban areas around the country have heightened crime going on
Very
in
important.
those respective communities.
Right.
My question to the 2 of you, actually to the 5 of you, but to the 2 that are
We
present.
can't go get the rest of them, bro.
I can't go get Leonard, can't go get Tony, and whatever. The situation being in your household, you all being raised by a 2-parent family, mom and dad,
We get it.
mom in her absence, how were you all raised to the point where those things didn't permeate your home? What did they instill in you all that was different from any other situation that could have led you in that direction? Made you all the men that you are. Made you the men of valor that you are.
Yeah, we get it.
What did they do that is different from what others are incurring? And how would you teach those individuals that aren't in a situation or weren't in a situation like yours?
Amen.
And Brian said we won in that game, Shrine.
Yeah.
I just want to take note of that.
Yeah. It was 22 to 15. Yeah, it's 22 to 15. So first of all, we're just out of Father's Day, right? And so I'm kind of fresh in these issues in my head. So when you start talking about fatherlessness, that is a talking point that is not reality. The CDC has reported that black fathers are more likely to make a meal, help kids with homework, be there with the kids' sporting events. They talk to their kids every day. So the lie, the propaganda, the racism that we're not there, that's just stupid. All right, it's a lie. The second thing is this. I'm a pastor, amen, but I'm a pastor, I'm a family law attorney, and I see this thing coming and going. I would admonish anybody who is confronting the issue of a lack of a male presence. You go to your church and you demand that your church get some deacons with some testosterone, and you get some youth programs, and these preachers interact with your kid in a positive, consistent level. Amen. And that will be the surrogate dad that kid needs. I'm looking at Thomas Hall. Thomas Hall is a friend of mine. This man is brilliant beyond comprehension, and he has 3 beautiful children. His wife Ebony's with him. This man has dedicated his life to mentoring children, and the first mentorship starts in his home. Yes, that's true. And now with the Ellison home in particular, now you had your experience, I had mine. Let's compare notes. Dr. Leonard Eugene Ellison practice psychiatry, whom we're going to see, 94 years old. He's on Muralin right now. I was scared of that man. And when he said jump, I didn't say how high. I just went through the roof. But strangely, we had a mother who was the polar opposite. Not that we can get away with anything, but his harshness was balanced with her softness. And let me say this to you, Ken, speaking just for myself, I'm the preacher. I've been preaching since I was 19 years old, okay? And every one of us, of the 5 Ellisons, have strayed. We have done something, you know. Well, so there's no parenting children is never a straight line. But if you look at culture, what's the culture? And our culture was one of integrity, achievement, and social responsibility. And yes.
Dad and mom gave up that toughness. That's a great question. Let me put it to you like this. I think it's a great question, and by all means, put time and attention into your families. You all know that, right? Nobody has to tell you that. You know that. You all could probably teach us some things on that. But what I would say is, don't ever think that even that most excellent parenting can protect your kids from abusive police officer. And I'm gonna tell you why. I mean, it's by God's grace. My dad told me, if you ever get stopped, this is not the moment to debate Fourth Amendment constitutional philosophy. Keep your hands on the wheel. Don't give them anything until they ask for it. When they ask for it, give it to them. You cannot drive without license and insurance, and be quiet and then hang on until we get there. I'm gonna tell you, we've had dicey relationships dealing with police. And you know what? We might joke around about stuff that we should have done or shouldn't have been done or whatever. None of us was ever doing nothing particularly bad. None of us was. Y'all know that people who've been on the real wrong path. None of us really were. Not really. The worst anybody did is drink some beer, hang out with some, get into a fight, something like that. But like gunplay, gang activity, that's just not our story. But Leonard almost got messed up by the police before, walking home, not doing anything. I did, Tony did, I don't know if Eric did, but I mean, there were all of these close calls that could have gone a very different way. So what I'm saying is, by all means, keep your kids close, very close, but did bad parenting cause George Floyd his life? It wasn't. I mean, what about Breonna Taylor? What did her father do wrong? I mean, what about Walt? Walter Scott shouldn't have ran, but then the man shot him execution style. I mean, what was Eric Garner doing? He was actually not selling Lucy cigarettes, by the way. His mother, Gwen Carr, would show up at our meetings at the end of the day when in the middle of the trial. Y'all following me? Eric Garner's mother would get on the Zoom at 5:00 when we were having our debrief meetings and give us encouraging words. She said, my son never got a day in court. I'm pulling for you guys. But like, what did, she did, it wasn't bad parenting that officer used the illegal chokehold to choke him out as he was saying, I can't breathe. So I just want to be careful that, yes, by all means, we're blessed. The thing we did right is we got the right parents. That was our wisdom. Which means we didn't do anything. We just got lucky. But the question is brilliant, Kim. We really appreciate you sharing it. But still, we got to be careful. Yeah.
Oh, hello. I'm Elijah.
How you doing, brother?
Good.
Just give him a hand because he's awesome.
you don't know me, I sometimes speak on the third Sunday of the month.
All right.
And I have a question.
Third Sunday of the month at this church.
Yeah. And I have 2 questions.
Okay, this one I took my notebook.
One, did all of those injustices, the long hot summer of '67, the '68, the '68 King protest,
Yeah.
and but also but also the justices too, like the Rosa Parks incident,
Sure.
the King, like all that stuff. Did that inspire you and your brother to take business in some kind of law?
That was outstanding. You know what? That's a really good question. And we're all very proud of you. We're all very proud of you. And also, and I want to commend not your mom, your dad, your aunts, your uncles, and all the adults in your life, because you're a well-loved child, I can tell. The question is absolutely, those great heroes were inspiring to us, and I want to tell you, one person that was super inspiring to me was a guy named Charles Hamilton Houston. Now this guy, he was the mentor of Thurgood Marshall. And he was a strategist, he was a great lawyer. But what I want to encourage you to do is read about some of these people who faced great odds. They didn't know how it was going to come out when it was happening. But they put their faith in it, and for our benefit, it came out good. And some people, it didn't come out good for them. Some lost their lives. But they did the right thing anyway, and we want you to live that kind of a life. So keep studying, okay? And we're really proud of you.
My second question is,
Here's the other one.
Children's shows usually portray the police officers as trusting and loyal. But with those incidents like Long Hot Summer of '67 and the George Floyd incident, did those children's shows change the portrayal of police officers? Do you think that?
You know, my friend, that's another great question. Can I tell y'all a real quick thing? There was a man in Minnesota, not Minneapolis, not St. Paul, but his name was Philando Castile. And Philando was killed by a suburban police department. But what he did, his job was he was the lunchroom operator. He ran the lunchroom at a school for kids right about your age. And so it was really a problem because these kids, they loved Mr. Phil. They adored Mr. Phil, and they also respect and admire the police. So they're like, well, the police killed Mr. Phil, so does that mean the police are bad? Or does it mean that Mr. Phil's bad? Well, the truth is, neither are bad. Sometimes two things can be true at the same time. And it can be true that some officers who didn't do the right thing and did not do the right thing, that they are wrong for that. Those officers who did that, and Mr. Phil is a wonderful man that you believed him to be. It could mean that we need to make policing better for everyone, and that Mr. Phil is a wonderful wonderful man. And so, see, here's the thing, y'all. We want to protect our kids from stuff, but they're smart and they're watching. And so we have to explain it to them. We have to explain to them what the reality is, and we have to give them the positive side. We have to remind them there are men and women who serve in police departments every day, honorably, well. They do a great job. They serve with compassion and courage every day. And I'm telling you, I'm not making this stuff up, and I'm not being political. I know these people. You know some of these people. But the problem is, because so many of these 18,000 police departments across America, they make the work experience difficult for those officers who want to serve well, because they allow people like Derek Chauvin to stay on the force. Imagine having to ride around in a squad car all day with Derek Chauvin. What if he is your field training officer? J. Alexander King, it's tragic that he got caught up in this because he joined the force to make improvements. And yet he gets a field training officer like Derek Chauvin who leads him astray. And people say, well, you know, they're rookies. Why would you prosecute them? I said, look, they knew what the law was. But I say, but you know, but yes, it's true. Derek Chauvin let down J. Alexander King. But J. Alexander King let down George Floyd. And all he had to do was get up. And so thank you for that. Thank you for that, those two good questions.
Thank you. Great afternoon, and I look forward to reading your book.
I'm so glad to have you.
A couple of questions. Could you give us a crash course on qualified immunity?
Yeah, real quick.
And how that factors into protecting police officers who use excessive force?
Yes.
My guess is that most people in law enforcement are in favor of qualified immunity. Are you? And third, what do you think the future of qualified immunity is?
Well, just to tell everybody what qualified immunity is. First of all, it's a civil doctrine. Now, what does that mean? That means that when I criminally prosecuted Derek Chauvin and the others, and by the way, we prosecuted a number, not just that case, we weren't dealing with qualified immunity in the criminal context. But if you sue any government official, you may encounter qualified immunity. Now, what that means is that the rules may say the officer or the government official can't do something. The law might say they can't do something. But unless there is a case, basically just like the one you're accusing them of now, then they have qualified immunity, meaning that you can't even do discovery. Now, y'all know what discovery is? That's when you do depositions, interrogatories, all that stuff. You can get your case can be dismissed out on the grounds that there's not a well-settled law, that the law's not well settled on this matter, even if a statute or a regulation says don't do it. So in other words, when you're suing in federal court and a police officer or others, not just cops, you may your case could get dismissed if you can't show that this basically happened before. If you can't show, even if the rule has been crossed, even if the law has been violated, your case can get dismissed based on qualified immunity. And you know, there was a case where one time a prison guard left a inmate handcuffed for well over 12 hours to a pole, and the person was saying that, look, my hand is swelling and turning blue because of you chaining me here. And the man, you know, his head was permanently injured. And then they defended based on saying, oh, there's qualified immunity here. And so no liability exists at all. Well, the bottom line is, I don't agree with the doctrine. No legislature, nobody you ever voted for made up the doctrine of qualified immunity. It is judge-made law. It's judge-made law. And I think that at least the legislature, if they pass a law, then we should follow that law, and that should be what the law is. The judge should not be able to say, well, I think there should be a higher threshold. So no, I don't favor qualified immunity. And I think that if we should go by the administrative rules, employment regulations, state law, other existing cases No, it's based on a case called Fitzgerald versus Harlow, and the judge, I think the court just kind of pulled it out of their ear, in my opinion, and I'll leave it right there.
All right, all right. We've done that. We've done that. Yeah. So listen, let's give them a round of applause. I want to. So here's what we're going to do. If you already have your book, we'd like you to go downstairs to the fellowship hall where you will be able to get in line and have it signed by Attorney General Ellison. There may be a few left. You all did such a great job of pulling people in today, so they may have sold out. But you can definitely order. They did, okay. But you can definitely place another order. But there's going to be an opportunity down there. And so we're going to ask, we're not going to do a lot of pictures right now. We're going to ask Keith to go downstairs so we can get everything signed. We're going to do that right now. You'll have the opportunity to do that downstairs. I want to thank all the brothers from Gamma Lambda, Alpha Phi Alpha for being here. My brother Donald Snyder's in the corner. All of you who have anything to do with 421 North Albany Street, meet up on the stage, and we're going to do what we do as well. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for our sponsors. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward to seeing you downstairs.
Two.